Nunca mais. Bem, mo tayo. Yeah. Hey guys, Hugo and Stacy, you are here already. Let me invite you here. Wait. Great. Hey Marianne. Hey Perry. Hey guys, you good?
Hey Diego, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
Man,
Just a
it's great
sec.
to see your face, man.
Great to see you guys. Where are you right now?
We're at our studio here in Tampa, Florida.
That's cool. You guys still working on the studio, right?
Yeah, we own our own dance studio here in Tampa, and unfortunately, with all of this, COVID pandemic, we had to close our studio in about mid-March. Obviously, we're still paying rent, so we're still
Yeah.
existing, but we've had to close it until we're allowed to open back up again. But we're taking this time to better our business and better ourselves, and have a little time to relax along the way.
Yeah, that's great. So you guys, hey Stacy, how you doing?
Good, good.
Good. Yeah, so you guys still practice on the studio and do your videos on the studio, your classes, everything happens there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. We now have a virtual platform that we do now.
Nice. Yeah, you guys had that or before the corona shit happens or no? Like everything starts.
Yeah, no, we've always wanted to. We used to do just small videos. We had like DVDs, but we never had a studio platform where all of our syllabus classes are, all of our intensives. We've always wanted to create, like an online platform like that. And so, it gave us the excuse now that we have all of this time and
Yeah.
all the teachers have time. We're having the whole studio create videos, instructionals, intensives, and all for our online platform.
Yeah, and that's great because I mean, you guys have been working in your Instagram and your social media like for a long time, right? So
Hmm.
when did you start all that?
Oh, gosh, I feel like I've always done it, but I guess I got really serious about it maybe like 4 or 5 years ago, which, it kind of comes along with the decision of becoming serious about
Yeah.
pursuing dance as a professional as a whole. But it was something that I've always been interested in. It's been social media has been a part of many careers I did before I started dancing. So it's kind of just a skill set that I was passionate about bringing in.
Yeah, that's great because you guys are, always have this both sides, right? I mean, I always meet and listen a lot about your classes and your town and your students because you have your team there and you are traveling around the world because that's the most hard piece for me. Like almost all the pros, they do not teach in your hometown because they are traveling all the time, and you guys were able to keep the same thing. So how do you have how that was possible for you guys?
I think the biggest thing is commitment. I feel like, if you really want something, you'll find the organization in your life to make sure that it's
Yeah.
happening. So, for me, one of those things is like, before I was tending to the studio, I would, come in early to the events and I would stay late, right? So I would try to get there like, Wednesday or Thursday, and I would leave on, Monday or Tuesday and things like that. And, by the time I got home, I only had one day to relax, and then we would leave, and so when we first started, we didn't have the time to be able to do that. And so we decided that, if we really want to create something special, in our community, that we need to be a little bit more specific with our traveling. So we decided to, pretty much only go Friday till Sunday. We would come back, still have our rest day, but then have classes that we would do on Tuesday, a party, classes on Thursdays. And we were very committed to, passing off and building a community in our area. And because of that commitment that we did, maybe at this point it was like maybe seven years ago or something like that, that we started to just grow and be in the area. And now we own our own studio. So, you know, just from that little commitment that we did, you know, a couple years ago, now we were able to build it to what it is now.
Yeah, and that's great, guys. I want to know because you guys are couple and partners in just everything, right? And this is what we want to talk a lot today. But before we get there, I want to listen, and everybody want to listen. How did you guys arrive where you are right now? So, what's your story as individual and as a couple? Your background. Why did you decide to become a dancer professional? Why you are doing that right now? So because in the way I see things, stories are the most amazing ways to inspire people and motivate people, because you heard so many different stories of people who should do nothing in their life and they become just great, and you guys become very famous pros. You have been all around the world. How many times have you been in Brazil? 3 times, twice?
I think 3 times
Three
now.
times.
I think 3 times now.
Yeah, 3 times. Have you, which cities have you guys been?
I think we've only been 3 times to Brasilia.
Yep.
Mainly
Oh,
Brasilia.
yeah.
We haven't been anywhere else.
Yeah, it's just like you want to talk about, right? You made a choice to go to work and to get back to your city, because maybe if that happens like a couple years ago, you guys stay here for the whole month and go to Rio, Fortaleza, and everywhere.
Exactly. Yeah, and, you
so
know, those are the things that, you know, we take the time to travel and, you know, do those things, but we don't let that time be wasted every weekend, you know,
Yeah.
where you lose out a lot on the rest of your week. You know, I think for us, you know, our story, you know, to make this, you know, kind of quick for us, but, you know, I started doing things in high school. I started in maybe when I was, I don't know, maybe 15 years old or something like that. And I basically went from high school hip hop dance team to teaching kids salsa, to not Arthur Murray, Fred Astaire. I did Fred Astaire for a couple of years. And then from there, I learned West Coast swing at a studio called First Dance in Fort Myers, Florida. And that's kind of where I, you know, grew my passion in that. Stacy's?
I mean, I feel like we could just talk like for this whole interview about like how we started and how we met. Like if you've ever seen our website,
yeah,
we can talk about it for hours. But to again summarize it, kind of like Hugo, I started out with gymnastics. I did that from the times I was 4 until I was about 13, and went through the whole like, you know, I need a lifestyle change thing. And then I started solo dancing, again, kind of like Hugo. I fell into a dance studio originally wanting to do hip hop, but then started doing all of the dances, and I was on the competitive team because I'm just competitive by nature. And then actually someone who owned a ballroom dance studio was at one of our solo dance competitions, and, you know, kind of gave me the offer that everybody gets when they start ballroom dancing of, you know, we'll teach you how to ballroom dance if you'll come teach lessons for us. So that's how I started teaching in general, and just really fell in love with it. I didn't so much fall in love with ballroom, but that's where I figured out that, hey, something I like about teaching. But, you know, I was graduating high school and I wanted to go to school. So I wound up going to school for photography, which was kind of a random decision, but I learned a lot of it. I feel like that's where I actually learned a lot of my social media skills and marketing skills and things that I use today to make our business better. Eventually, you know, through the years, figured out that that wasn't really what I wanted to do. And I went back to teaching ballroom because I didn't really know what else to do. And actually, one of my students was like, hey, have you ever heard of West Coast swing? And I was like, well, yeah, I've heard of it, but, you know, nobody does that dance. And he was like, oh, honey, let me tell you, people do this dance. And I went out, and at that time I was living in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So I went out and I got to meet the whole Tulsa West Coast swing community. And I mean, I just fell in love with it. From that point on, it was like West Coast swing was all I could think about.
That's great, and it's still art, right? So you are doing hip hop and you're doing photography. It's still things that make us creating and see things in different way. It's not different that you guys doing today. And how did you guys met? How did the story start?
So, you know, again, we can talk about this for hours, but quick version is
You don't have to be so quick. We good. We have time.
Yeah. Okay.
He wants the details.
That's
Yeah,
right.
don't rush. Don't rush. Yeah, people
Okay.
are free.
Okay, good. So we started because I was hired to a West Coast Swing dance cruise, and some of those people there were like Stephen White, which is one of my best friends, and a couple of other people who we see very often right now.
Keep telling the story. I'm gonna go get some juicy details.
Okay, good.
Yeah, Steven's here right now, so maybe. Oh wait, you're gonna get the picture? Oh my God, she's gonna show you a picture of
Nice.
of like maybe we met we were hanging out for maybe 5 days. It was like a 7-day cruise, and to make this easy, every guy, I don't know, not every guy, but most guys get into dancing because there's beautiful women, or opposite, we like dancing and then it's kind of like a perk. We get the opportunity to hang out with pretty women that we might not be able to normally. And so I saw her sitting, in, first of all, when we first got to the hotel, then we had to take a bus all the way to where the cruise was coming out of. And I remember getting onto the bus and, just looking down the, down the hallway in the bus. And, here's this beautiful face just looking right up to me and smiling, and I was like, ooh. And so we didn't really introduce ourselves at that moment. That was like the first time we like locked eyes. And, and then.
Wait, sorry, which years was that?
This was like in 2011. Okay, yeah, 2011. As you see, I look over to make sure. So 2011, and she was coming with somebody. There was this guy who she was coming with, the person who kind of invited her to do West Coast Swing, and he forgot his passport when we were at the location, and so she had to go by herself. But he had, luckily the guy had a lot of money and he had his own plane, so he was going to meet us like 4 or 5 days into the cruise in the Caribbean. He was going to go to that area and then jump on the boat there. Okay. So she was about 5 days alone on the boat, and I had to sweep in very quickly, and basically, at some point I think we really spoke for the first time, because we were getting onto the boat, and
people are just loving this story here.
I see this. Yeah.
Hey, like Stefan Dominguez is here too. Hi, bro. There you go. Yeah, sorry, keep going.
No, all good. So I was coming up the elevator to go to, I think it was like, a meeting with the group, with everybody who was there for the cruise, for the West Coast Swing cruise. And, she was right there, and she was like, oh, I don't know where stuff is. She was just looking like she was lost. And I introduced myself very quickly. I said, hello, I'm Hugo. I'm one of the dance professionals on the cruise. And then I was like, follow me. I'll take you to, where I had her sit next to me. Oh, look, here's a great place, for you to sit down and hang out with the group, things like that. And then from there, it kind of, the magic just happened. Happened.
This is the same version for you, Stacy, or it's a total different version?
No, it's pretty much the exact same.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, it was one of those like ridiculous situations where you know what's happening, but you're like, that's okay. Let's do it.
Yeah. Do it. So you guys became to be a couple before you start to do West Coast Swing, was that?
Yes. Well, before she, I mean, it was a West Coast Swing cruise. But yeah, we met. I already did West Coast Swing obviously at that point, but when we first started, we decided to be a couple first, and I think one of the things that was important to me when we first started is that I didn't want to just make her my partner right away. I was at the time, I think I was an advanced or all-star, and she was a novice. She was just starting.
I wasn't even a novice. I had no points. I was a baby. Okay. I had been to one tiny little competition. I was barely had my feet wet in West Coast Swing.
Yeah. Okay. And for for me, I felt like I didn't want her to just be referred to as Hugo's girlfriend. So it was important for me to, I basically told her, hey, I love to dance together and enjoy dance together and grow together, but I don't really want to be partners until you're at least advanced. And so within 1 year, she went to novice to advanced. And then, we were able to begin. But by that time, she was already Stacy K, at that moment.
That's great.
And then so, we got to get started as like, she wasn't piggybacking off of my success. She created her own success. And then, we grew together from there.
But do you have another partner during this time? No.
Yeah, I had a couple partners during that time as well. At the time, I tried a couple different. There's some partners who I never ended up working out, so we didn't see a routine together. But at the time, I think I was still with Brienne. I was still partners with Brienne. So Brienne Klein, she was part of the West Coast Swing community for a long time. She was a junior along the way as well, and we became partners. We did Rising Stars together. And we did all of that a couple times before Stacy and I, became partners.
Yeah. So, Stace, tell me something, right? I have one of my best friends, couples in the world. They are here, like Junior and Gabi. I think you guys met them in Brasilia. Do you remember them?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they did a routine together once, and was like almost someone killed someone.
Yeah.
And they decided. Actually, like Gabriella is still, let's do more. And Junior's like, no way, like never more in my life.
Yeah.
So like, become a partner, make your relationship easier or harder?
Harder.
I think that's unanimous across the board.
Yeah.
Every couple, whether they're together, used to be together, not together, they'll all tell you the same thing.
But I just think it's worth it. Like if two people are really passionate about their craft, then I think that it's natural for it to be hard. I think, if you really, you can make it a lot easier, but then you won't be able to share with your partner how you can share with somebody who you're actually dancing a routine with. Is it hard? All the time. Do we still have issues? Even though we have strategies to help, minimize our issues, we still have issues. It happens. People get passionate, and you have to be okay with that. It's not ever going to go away entirely.
Yeah, I do think like the way I see it, I mean, I do agree it's harder, but in the other way, I do think it's easier than have a relationship with somebody else. Like if you're traveling in the world, like as I was traveling the world, like 8 months a year, like if my girlfriend was not my partner, we was staying home, like it's just so hard to make it work. Do you agree with it?
But it's just not for everybody. Some people want that space. But you're right. I feel like it could fail a lot before it can work. If you're with somebody, if you're with somebody different than your partner's with, there could be a lot more issues, jealousy, things like that. I don't know. I feel like eventually it gets harder to find the right balance. And I think together, because you love each other, you can make it work. I think you can fall back on that to get through the problems. Sometimes when you're just partners with somebody else, maybe you're not as invested.
So tell me one thing here, because I had like basically the same situation as you guys when me and Jessica starts to dance. Like I was his teacher, and she was my student. And during the way was so hard in some moment when we stopped to see each other as a teacher and a student, and become to see each other as we equals on this way. So how was this transition for you guys?
I think that it was always a little bit different from the beginning, from us starting, because Hugo was always very, very passionate and very upfront about that he wanted me to develop myself as my own person, and always encouraged me to take lessons from other people. And I was lucky enough to be able to travel to most of the events, definitely not in the beginning, but eventually I got to travel a lot. So I really got to experience a lot outside of his teaching. So I think that made our journey in the beginning a little bit easier. But there was definitely still that transition to, me becoming the same level as him. And I think that it really comes down to transitioning more into, one person having the ultimate answer, and to be like, you know, for us, we were always on the same page of we want to agree. It doesn't matter how much we have to argue or discuss something. We're gonna get down to something that we agree on somehow. And if we can't get there, then there is a certain point where we end the conversation before things get, you know, nasty, and we take it to a mentor that we respect and we trust, and we look for their answer and their advice, and then we use that as a medium. You know, we've really, like Hugo said, learned where those boundaries are, and now, you know, obviously that takes pushing past them a couple times, and things happen and we have to say sorry, but then we learn where that is and we don't approach that boundary anymore. We find a way to help us get through that, and now we can be on the same page again.
Yeah, you kind of have to find a line, and you have to find a discipline to knowing when is the right time to stop letting it escalate. You know, I think that's the problem with a lot of couples or just partners, that they let it get to a point where it's like it's so escalated that you know it's counterproductive and it's hard for you. So for us, whenever we start getting to that, you know, really, you know, a frustrated moment, that we just go, okay, let's just pass this off to our coach, and that's fine. We'll talk about this later. Let's move on to something else. And we feel like that's made us very productive. And obviously we choose a coach that always ends up finding a way to have both of our opinions still happen into one, you know. And so, you know, for anybody watching, just know that, you know, we still have coaches. We have at least 3 or 4 coaches or 5 coaches that we talk to for a lot of decisions, you know. So just know that even at the highest level, you need a mentor or somebody else to help, you know, guide you along the way.
That's all great. So if you are watching us, please click in the heart, so let more people see this live. We share that this airplane there, so let us know you are liking. And if you have some questions, please just write here on the comments or that question mark, and I will make that happen. So when you guys talk about coach and mentoring and all stuff, are you talking 100% about dancing, or you already have someone coaching you for your business, for relationship, or things like that?
Yeah, I think that, you know, we approach different people, just like how I go sometimes to somebody specific for something that I want. You know, we do the same thing for our coaches. So sometimes, you know, we have certain coaches that have helped us immensely with business, West Coast swing, business, how to speak to certain people. Robert Royston is like one of our biggest people with helping us with that, with like, you know, everyday choices and things like that, contracts, you know, how to speak. But also you have to be hungry as the person. You have to want to improve. And so, you know, just yesterday, you know, I take about 3 or 4 hours a day of self-education. You know, I watch CEO trainings to make my business better. You know, I find organizational ways to do that better. We find different ways of teaching things. You know, we're very passionate about being better and always being relevant. And I feel like, you know, continuing to do that consistently is what, you know, what made us what we are today.
Yeah.
Nice.
You know, really, I mean, I wouldn't say that we have a relationship coach by any stretch of the definition. But I feel like just having a couple of good dance mentors, like dance teachers know they teach life in that weird way, and they always teach you what you need in that moment. Like I won't get too into it, but I've had dance coaches that coached my routine to get me ready, you know, for the open, like this really important dance thing. And I swear to you, even though he was talking about dance, the only thing that he was really telling us was how to fix our relationship and how to talk to each other and how to treat each other. But it was through the choreography. Like, it sounds like the craziest thing, but I'm telling you, like, we walked out of that lesson like almost in like emotional tears, because it was like, oh my God, like, you're so right. This is exactly what I needed. Like, not just for my dance routine, but for us. Like, we've had some really cool experiences. So I think in a way your dance teachers can be whatever kind of teacher you need in that moment, not just a good dance teacher.
Yeah, like, you know, just to name sometimes people specifically, like, you know, Deborah Seike has, you know, came up to us and said, like, do not speak to each other like that. We've had Gary McIntyre, who's this person that we're talking about, you know, tell us that you don't dance like you're together, you know, and that made at the time in our relationship, that was really powerful. And, you know, everybody has, you know, a lot of our mentors have coached us in a way that It's helped our relationships. It's helped our dancing. You know, a lot of the times, everything is related to everything. You know, learning about business is learning about relationships, is learning
Yeah.
about dancing, is learning about, you know, all the strategies that you use are going to be used all across the platform. If you're good at relationships, you know, you can be good at business. If you're good at business, you can learn how to be good at dancing. You know, like you can learn how to take those strategies.
Yeah, that's for sure, guys. Yeah, I always talk about that as the mindset, as the mentality. Like all the time when I talk about someone that I really admire, like the personality, like the famous person that I most admire is Arnold Schwarzenegger, because he was just like great in so much different stuff. I mean, it's just crazy to me how he can be like a bodybuilder, very, very famous, the most all the time, then become an actor, very well paid, like very famous, then become government, how do you say?
Governor. Yeah.
Governor from California.
Yeah.
I mean, that's great. Like people who can achieve things in different. Even I see for myself. Like I don't know if you guys know that, but I was a karate champion before becoming a dancer. So yeah, I was third in the world. I was Pan American champion. And when I started to dance, like I did many years ago, like this was 9 years ago, I did the Dance with Stars, like the Brazilian version. And my friends from karate would say, "Oh, he will win, he will win," and they have never seen me dance before, but they just know, yeah, he will work hard. Yeah. He will know what have to do it, and that's the point. Like because you guys have to work a lot to improve your dance, so you have to work a lot to improve your relationship. Now you have to work a lot to create a new business and to still think about how to make your dance living grow, because right now is new era, is new times, and everything will change after it. And I one question for you guys is about the business idea, the relationship idea, and the partnership idea, because you guys are all together. As I said, you guys define exactly who are responsible for each part, so you have your own rules very, very clear. For example, Stacy take care of the social media and the business. You will think about playing the training and the classes or anything like that, or it's just all together?
That's exactly right. You know, I think working within your strengths and recognizing not only your strengths, but the strength of your team, I think is the only way to be able to do it. Because there's just some things that Stacy's really passionate about that I would fall asleep doing, you know, or opposite, you know what I mean? You know, there's so many things that I like doing that she would never want to do. You know, like for example, like you said, Stacy is everything that we do. She's, if you've seen us on Instagram, if you like, you know, the videos that we posted, the way that this is kind of done, the writings that she does, you know, even I'm gonna be upfront with you guys. This is exclusive right here. So if you're listening, this is exclusive. Even when I post something and you're like, and it sounds like Hugo, and you know, people message me personally and they go, "Hugo, man, you're so deep." You think about, it wasn't me, it was Stacy. she, you know, but it's because she also knows how I write, you know. So like, I don't write with a lot of exclamation points. I don't write with a lot of emojis. So when she writes, like, you know, for me, she knows the essence of what I would do. You know, she can make it. It is from me. It's just not directly from me. You know what I mean? And, you know,
like when she received flowers, she give to herself my name, and she write the card, and she fall in love with me because she write that amazing words.
She knew that I would give her the flowers.
Yeah, that's good.
So that's totally good. Oh my God, I love it.
But yeah, I mean, Hugo does actually a lot more important things. Like he makes sure that our flights are booked, which, you know, is like super important. But like, you know, one of those details, I'm like, I cannot look for flights for hours. So Hugo is responsible for making sure we get places, which is way more important than social media.
I also do, you know, I do, like, I guess my section of it is also like finances. Like I do a lot of the numbers. Stacy cannot stand numbers. And I can't stand words. So like, if it has to do with words, she does it. If it does with numbers, I do it.
Fair trade.
But there's some things that you can't give up on. And like, you know, when it comes to the teaching the classes, neither of us, you know, do it independently. We do it together. You know, that's the kind of stuff that we know that we both want to say in. But, you know, again, there's little things like, you know, when she criticizes my numbers, I get really defensive. When I criticize if she makes a graphic and I'm like, ooh, you know, maybe you could change this over here, she goes, what? You know,
Who
you
are
know,
you in this
and, you know,
game?
and sometimes I'm like, you know, whatever, you're probably right. You know, you have a better eye for this,
Yeah.
so it's fine. You know, so there's some things that, you know, that, you know, you can give your things on, but the other person is more sensitive about and they're better at it. But there's some things that we just have to work out together.
Like what? When you guys see each other as like equals, and because I do think the great problem, let's not say problem, but when we fight with each other is because our opinions have just the same height. Like I'm just right here. Like for any company, like we are studying about the CEOs and things like that. So we know each company has someone who will make the decisions. There is never like two people who can make the same decision. Someone you say is that way and we follow that. But when we talk about partnerships, in many moments we don't have that. At least I didn't have. For example, when we create routine, there is not like, okay, Diego words is the last one, or no, it's like, okay, we talk and we decide. But this we decide point is so hard, even though because we know it's not you against her, it's like you guys against the problem, trying to fix something. But still, your way to think about how this should be fixed and her way is different. So how do you guys make agreement on this point?
Well, I definitely understand the struggle, but I think that we've developed several strategies, you know, and it also depends on the problem that we're having. So, you know, I think one of the first things that we're really passionate about doing together is teaching, because that's for us, teaching and building a community and, you know, building better humans is something that's more important to us than winning a championship, even though we're really competitive and that's also important to us. One is definitely more of a priority than the other. So when it comes to deciding the syllabus or even just deciding what we're going to teach that day at the workshop, like it's never just one of us like, okay, I plan the workshop, you know, just follow what I do or, you know, whatever. We're both very hands-on. We both take notes. You know, we don't necessarily decide who's going to say what line, but in a way we know what each other likes to teach. So that is definitely, we are very united on that front.
I think what's really important with that is like intent. Is like, you know, when we are trying to teach something or we're trying to convey something in the business, you know, what is our intent? What is our goal in doing that? Because we can have our opinions, but does that opinion actually promote the focus and the intent that we're going for? You know, and I think that's something that, you know, her and I speak a lot about. You know, we have these opinions along the way, but, you know, if I'm like, for example, if we're teaching a beginner, you know, I might want to put in this detail about a certain, you know, part. But if she's like, you know, actually it's level 1 and the intent of level 1 is for them to get the idea and the rough draft and the blueprint, and then we can fill it in, then I would say, okay, that makes more sense because you don't want to deter them from the intent that they want to have the blueprint. That's not going to help them, you know, be conscious about the intent of that blueprint. It's going to give them, you know, the specific, which isn't what we want in this level. And I think the more we can communicate those things, the less feelings are hurt along the way. You know, I think if you learn how to manage the intent, then you can manage the emotion. Because I think emotion is what helps, you know, blocks your brain from finding the solution. And so I think creating a studio is what helped us a lot of this, because, you know, we taught and we wrote things down, but we never created a syllabus, you know, and, you know, I think you don't really get that specific until you create something like this. And so I think, you know, going through those ideas, being conscious of the intent, being conscious of what we want, or sometimes what we don't want, but what the student wants more of, what the customer wants more of. I think just bringing clarity to those points is what helps us meet in the middle and, you know, find an opinion that we can grow together.
You know, and speaking of being able to find a solution, when it comes more to choreography and like actually doing something creative together where there really isn't a better opinion, what we try to do is more just solve the problem, find the solution. Don't just go, no, I don't really like your idea. Go, okay, well, I really want something that has more impact to it. So maybe if we do this instead, it will have that impact. Or do you have another way that we can add more impact with this idea? So it's more conductive of actually creating better ideas and getting what you're actually looking for rather than just focusing on the negative. Of course, anytime you tell somebody you don't like their stuff, they're going to have a negative reaction. So, just learning small strategies like that. And it does take a little bit of self-control of when you're in that moment and your brain goes, ew, I don't like that. You can't react immediately. You have to think about it. Okay, well, what is it that I'm looking for? And how can I get that a little easier?
I think the intent of like creating thought, and creating, that point where we're able to, focus on that certain piece. I think promoting that the thought is the most important thing. Not, like, I don't know. Again, I talk a lot about emotions, about letting those get the best of you. And here, wait, I see that along the way I'm trying to talk, but I see all these great comments. You are true partners in finding solutions. Oh, stop it. Stop it. I love it. But yeah, I think, sometimes people are always like, are you finding solutions? And that's what I want you to understand. It's like, sometimes I want a solution, and sometimes I want you to make me think a different way. And so that's why I think it's important for you to have either promote thought in somebody or promote a solution. I can't stand when somebody's like, yeah, I don't like that. This thing over here is, but if you give me a solution, or you give me, hey, how about we think this way? It helps me filter my brain.
Yeah, I do think our mind really starts like that, right? So we think, then we feel, then we act. So if we think, I always say that if you think you are walking for a dark place and you think it's dangerous, then you feel scary and you act in this way. If you are walking the same dark place and you think it's safe, it's okay, you feel very relaxed and you act in this way. I remember I am doing intensive each 2 weeks. I have the intensive, and there is someone work with me to create that, and he was saying, "Oh, Diego, I don't think 2 weeks is good. I think it's too much. So people are not able to do it, and because that and that and that." So he was asking himself why it would not happen. So people will not have money, people will not have time, and I was asking myself, oh, how can I make it happen? So we have been done that for 2 weeks, and each 2 weeks, and have been great, and I love it, and it's work. Just because I do believe in that, and you guys are so right. So people have to ask themselves the right questions. I remember I was with the same friend because I'm physical educator. I don't know if you guys know that. I have a program to make people lose weight here in Brazil. And I always teach them how to think makes difference in how you feel. And I have one student in one of my workshops, and I put him sit on the chair, and I ask him, 1 to 10, how much do you really want to kiss your girlfriend right now? And he said, right now, yeah, like 7. And I say, okay, so now remember the worst fight you guys ever had. And he was like, oh yeah. And I say, how much now? And he said like 0. And okay, so now think about the best sex you guys ever had. And he was like, oh yeah. So, and how much? And he, oh, don't ask me that. So it was just like that, just because when you think differently, I always say that, myself, when I start to compete with the Champions Division or with all those great guys, because I start to dance very late compared to Jordan, Kyle, Benj, just like you guys. So I was thinking all the time, I am the best karate guy in this dance floor. Because it was my way to feel very powerful. Like, yeah, I have balance, I have power, I know how to do, I'm not scary. And this me feel so good. And you guys are always talking about that. And that's for sure. That's why I call Beyond the Triples, because it's much more beyond the triple steps, the posture, the connection. People think about physical connection all the time, but they do not talk about emotional connection, about feelings, about empathy, about respect, things that we have to be a great dancer. You are talking about people write things here, and I love it. There is one question here that I love to listen you guys to answer. So Marianne asked, what you guys think people should have in mind for choosing a partner?
Yeah, that's a excuse my puppy.
No, you're good.
Take it for a sec.
So when it comes to a partner, I feel like having a certain, like just being clear with your expectations is really important. Like, what is your commitment level? So like, you know, if I were to write a couple of these things down, a commitment level would be first, you know, how much do you want to practice? What's your commitment per week, per day? What's your, you know, how many events are you planning on coming to? You know, how much do you invest into training on your own? And then other factors involved, like, you know, do I have you just have to work with the factors that you personally have. For example, if you have money or you have a friend who can give you flights for cheap, you don't have to worry about the flights. So you can open up your horizons to like people living in different areas. But if you know you can't travel anywhere, then stop trying to find people you know, that are a couple states away. That's not going to work. You know, you need to be able to, you know, if you're going to develop a partnership with somebody, you have to be willing to put in the time. You become, when you're a partnership, I feel like even partnership is a word that has two entities in it. Okay. And, you know, I want you to just think of the word entity, just one thing. You know, so when you are a partnership, you're actually, you have to become an entity together. You have to have this certain, you know, vibe together. Your vibe has to click. Does your strengths, you know, either contrast in a positive way, or are they similar, you know, the traits that this person has? I think one of the coolest things, you know, to be able to do before you choose a partner is have a couple of sessions with them where you're working with them. For example, let's choreograph a fun, you know, 60-second piece together. Let's choreograph a little piece together just to see how each one of us goes. You know, you have to be able to social dance together. You know, just having a strategy for sorting through the partners. I think about, again, it's like business. When you're hiring somebody, you don't just, you know, hire the first person you get.
Yeah.
You know, you have to go through a couple of different partners. You have to be okay with, sometimes they're not going to be for you. No matter how much you want them, they're not going to be for you. They're not going to work with your, you know, the things that are important to you along the way. And so I think those are the main things that'll help, you know, help a person choosing their partnership. But I would say test them out, interview them, see how they are in the field, work together, find solutions together, talk a little bit about teaching what you believe about one another. Maybe teach a small class together in a certain area, or like, you know, or like if you teach for your local community, just you teaching, you know, and maybe have somebody else come in and teach one of your classes with you and see how you're able to interact. Because I feel like you have to teach together, dance together, create together, think together, and pretty much just learn how, what, you know, you have to be just clear about expectations. I think that's the most important thing. And I guess the last bit, and again, I like to relate it to a lot of life things, but you know, when you're writing a paper, there's always a rough draft. You know, there's always a rough draft before you go through. So, you know, I think don't be afraid to find new partners. Just go do it. You, instead of like, you know, oh, it's going to take me so long to find this, just go and find people to sort through, and you're going to find the right person, you going through that process.
That's cool. That's nice. So Judy has one question here. Stace, can you answer that for us?
The one that just came through?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
What do you suggest individuals can do to build skills during COVID and to keep very small, isolated West Coast swing community engaged till we can dance together again?
Yeah, so that's a great question, obviously, for the times. So I'll start with the second half of the question, which is how to keep your community engaged, because that's something that, you know, we've been having to deal with a lot on our end as well. You know, and it might seem obvious, but my best suggestion is just to take the time to reach out to your community. You know, everybody now knows that we have a little bit of extra time, but even still, the fact that you're thinking about them and you just give them a call is going to mean so much to them. You know, setting up Zoom meetings just with your community, just to hang out. Like, I know everybody's been talking about that on Facebook, but we've done it, and it really was a great success. Everybody had things to talk about and things to share, and we laughed and we told jokes, and everybody felt better afterwards. So just, you know, being together, it's not necessarily about engaging them through dance, though it's easy for that to, you know, kind of sprout out when we're doing these things, but just engage them as humans. You know, this is the one time that we can focus less on teaching and more just being friends with our community. So that would be my biggest suggestion for the community. As far as how to keep your own dancing moving, take advantage of all of the material that's online right now. I mean, it's endless. I think there are definitely some students who are like overwhelmed with the amount of opportunities that are online. You know, there's definitely a learning curve with learning to do these virtual classes, but you'll get there. You know, we have to do it in order to overcome that curve. So, you know, take time to explore a new dance. You know, Hugo and I are just loving all this extra time. We love to cross train, but there's an app called Steezy, Steezy, and it has a monthly subscription. I think it's like $10 a month, but it has like hip hop and house dancing and all these street style dances that we want to have the influence of West Coast swing. But in order to get that influence, we got to learn the dances, and there's no better time than to do that right now. So there's just so many opportunities out there. Go out there and get them.
Yeah,
for
that's
sure.
great. No,
Sorry,
go ahead.
Basically, you know, for us, when it comes to this community, like she said, just making sure they're still moving. You know, I think as instructors, as community builders, it's important for you to just keep them moving in whatever way you can. Something that I do want to say again, because, you know, everybody does different things. We don't suggest offering free virtual classes. We don't suggest that. Now, you know, I'm going to tell you why. And I think it all has to do with, you know, the value of the instructor, the value of your time coming in there and doing this kind of stuff, the commitment to you being able to do it. But I think it's really important for us to keep our dancers moving by creating some kind of weekly class. Like right now, we do something with our JT team that we do weekly. You can do things that happen like some simple classes, intensives, things like that. I think personally messaging them, like she was saying, is really important. You know, honestly, we have some students totally weirded out that we called them just to say hi. Like they were happy, but you know, they were like, you know, they're used to us being so busy.
When you say we, you say we, or you say Stacy are calling them?
Okay, both of us. You know, honestly, so most of the time, honestly, it's me doing the calls.
Okay.
Okay.
So she writes, but you talk, right?
Yes. That's true. That's true, actually.
I have a question.
Yeah.
We have been talking for a couple of weeks to do this live. Was Stacy talk with me all the time? That's good.
100% of the time, homie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
again, like I said, you know, we know what our strengths are, and we're passionate about those strengths, and we're okay. We're a team together. You know, in a household, in a partnership, in a business, and dancing, we have to know those kinds of things. So we had to do that. But anyways, also addressing that piece of it that they were saying about keeping yourself training, and how Stacy talked about the onslaught of information that you have right now. You know, just remember that you could have gotten free stuff anytime. You could have gone to YouTube before this happened and gotten free stuff. You didn't go over there and get that free stuff because you didn't want their free stuff. Yes? You, in the time, you wanted to focus on, you know, either the professionals that you enjoyed or, you know, those. And I think that, you know, if you are passionate about, you know, either supporting the group, bettering yourself as well, you know, there's opportunities, low cost opportunities for everybody. You know, like right now, obviously it's a great time for me to plug, but we recently, with our new platform that we've just done, we've released for $19 a month, you can get access to over 100 videos that we do, intensives that we offer, drills, things like that. You can find that on districtdancer.com. And that's kind of our official site and what we do for our studio. All the way, if you've ever wondered, you know, if you've ever taken a workshop from us and you get a little taste of our workshop or something specific that we teach, and instead you'd like to know how we build up our dancers from the ground up, we've within this thing we've released our syllabus. So we have like a free crash course, our level 1, our level 2, our level 3, 4, 5. We have all these levels to help build somebody up along the way. And I think honestly, just go try out different programs, try them out. There's free trials for a lot of great stuff for you to try out. Find somebody that works for you, and get all the. I'm gonna be honest with you, and this is hard for me to say. Somebody is not going to fulfill your need forever. One person is not going to fulfill your need forever. So, explore this person until, you find what you've gotten from them. Explore somebody else, come back to that person. You need to be.
Oh, stop it. Guys, are you listening to them? Just stop it to me. Can you listen to me? Maybe Wi-Fi problems here.
Are we back?
Yeah, you're back. You're back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, don't know what.
Good.
Okay.
Keep going, Hugo. Yeah, because you guys were listening to them. Yeah, I think it was just myself.
No, it was me. It was us. It said something on our end as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, because like that's great. Normally on the end of the interview, I ask people to tell how people can find them. So go forward and like where these people can find you guys right now. What's the best way to reach you? It's Facebook, is your email, is Instagram. Where they can find you?
Yeah.
Well, actually, where they can find Stacy? Stop it again. Let's see what's happening here. Wait.
They said yes. Okay.
Are we back?
You here?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're back. Yeah. Sorry, guys.
Okay, that's right.
Okay.
No, we stopped again. Back again. We good? We good. Go forward.
Hopefully we're good. So no, we were just laughing. I was saying if you're ever wondering who you're talking to, if there's even one exclamation point, it's definitely me. So now you know the trick.
Exclamation points means it's Stacy. So just remember that.
Yeah, do you know why I think? Because when we talk on the Instagram about this live, I didn't know if I talk with Hugo and Stacy, but the person who are talking with me was all the time, oh yeah, Stacy would be amazing this interview, but Hugo will talk some stupid shit. And I'm okay, yeah, so maybe Stacy's talking, but I'm not sure.
Who knows?
Yep.
It works.
Yep. So yeah, you can find us on Instagram at Hugo and Stacy Dance.
Hugo and Stacy Dance,
Mhm.
or at District Dance Academy.
Mm-hmm. You can find everything we have to offer in terms of videos, instructionals, other dance styles and things like that at districtdancer.com. That's DIST RICT dancer. Don't forget the R at the end. Districtdancer.com.
Cool.
And check us out there. That's a lot to have to do with our videos. If you want to check out what Hugo and Stacy are doing in terms of where we're traveling to whenever we start traveling again, is going to be hugoandstacy.dance. So that's a lot of where you can find us. Thanks again, Diego, for
nice. It was my
here.
pleasure, guys. So
Yeah.
I still have my last piece here. I think we
great.
have like 4 minutes, 5 minutes.
Great.
And if you and guys, remember the easiest way to find myself, if you are in my WhatsApp group, just talk to me on the WhatsApp, just message me. And Stacy will talk with you there. And also, if you want to talk to me on the Instagram, so just message me there too. I have the intensive next Saturday, and you're very welcome. Guys, let's please pay attention to it. I will ask you a question. You have to answer so one at a time with one word or one phrase maximum. Ready? Good?
Let's do it.
So, yeah. So, first of all, your favorite West Coast swing song?
She's really good with songs. Talk about talent. She's really good with songs.
Yeah, but I gotta pick one. Have you guys ever seen my playlist?
I can't even think about one song.
One. You have to pick one song. Actually, let me ask you a full question.
Oh, I know. I got one.
I got one.
Okay.
Is it West Coast Swing? It's supposed to be West Coast Swing?
Yeah.
Okay.
For dance West Coast swing, yeah.
You can dance to what most songs. What is it? Go.
I was gonna say Ray because I like Ray, but it's not very West Coast.
It
Swing.
is. We almost did routine.
If you can dance, it's
okay, Ray. My favorite song, you know. Oh gosh, it feels so good. If you ever hear the song, it's called Ray, R-A-Y-E, and do you know who it's from actually? Ray. I need to look that up. So she can tell you hers while I look that up.
Okay.
I don't actually remember. That's pretty sad.
Oh,
John Splithoff. I think
That's it. Yeah.
Anyway,
Stacy?
my favorite one. If I had, I can't choose favorite songs for like ever. So maybe we'll just say this is my favorite song for like this month.
Yeah.
It would be "Say So" by Doja Cat. I just love her. I think all of her music is amazing.
So the Ray song, it was by John Splithoff. So it is, his last name is Splithoff. Splithoff. Yeah.
Cool. Nice.
By the way, we do want to leave you with, we were talking a lot about how we first met.
The gossip.
Yeah.
The gossip, okay? And so I want to show you a picture.
Cool.
This is
Nice.
exclusive stuff for
Nice.
Beyond the Triples right here. Ready?
Cool. Oh my gosh. That's nice. I can see Casper in this picture. That's cool, guys.
Look
Yeah, that's so nice. Oh my gosh. Look, Stacy. So different. That's great.
Yes. Oh my
So
god.
you'd have that hair for a long time?
No, it was like 6 months. It was a short-lived thing. I'll never do it again.
Yeah.
Okay, it was just for Matt Hugo, right?
Yes.
Good. Like Junior said, like the new song is already in his new playlist. So great, guys. Good job. So your favorite partner for dance, like on social, you cannot say each other.
Okay, I think I can.
All right, I've made a choice.
Oh God, that's hard.
I
Oh,
know.
just wait. I have like two in my head. I have to pick one.
Pick one. Go, Stacy. Say yours.
Sean McKeever. If I had to pick one, just boom on the go.
Sean McKeever. Cool.
Oh God. Okay. Can I say one young and one older?
Yeah, you can.
I can. Okay.
Just make sure the older one will not be offended.
Okay. All right. So the girl is probably Tori Zawi. I really like dancing with her.
Yeah.
And then the guy. I'm sorry, the guy. The other pro, it would be Marianne Nunez.
Okay.
I love dancing with her. Those are my two favorite for sure.
True. That's great. So if you guys have to say for everybody right now, this Corona shit is over, and you say, guys, let's everybody meet each other in this event because this is my favorite event in the world.
This is some pressure right here.
Yeah, we had a couple of events. We knew that you were going to ask this question, so we've been getting a little bit of money from every event to whichever one pay us more. I was going to say.
That's good. So you have 1 minute before the Instagram shut down this live.
Okay, all right, wait. All right, think about it.
Oh my gosh, it's the hardest question in the interview.
I don't know. I like the.
It's a really good one.
Which one was the one that you did? Okay, I'm going to tell you just because I had a really great time and they had a really great staff and we vibed really well. It would probably be Bavarian Open. I like the vibe. I like the drinks. I like the people. And there's time to hang out. You know, I really enjoyed it.
Stacy?
What is, and I can't believe I'm blanking on the name right now. the name of the biggest international event that happens
Oh,
in
Budapest.
Budapest.
Oh, Budapest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Budapest.
Yeah, we really like Budapest. It's a really awesome event as well.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
huge and we liked it.
Yeah, everybody loved this event.
Yeah, I loved it. It's great for like huge and fun, but vibe-wise, I really like Bavarian.
Good. So guys, yeah, we have like 40 seconds here. So thank you so much for your presence. It was a great. This will be some pieces of that will be my Instagram. I will make sure I tag you guys there, and you'll be to YouTube pretty soon too. So I share it with you. It was just great.